How to build an AI assistant chatbot for websites. So today we're going to take a live look and walk through about how I think about going and building these AI assistants for specific companies. And I've selected one real company out in the wild here in my hometown, and we're going to build a chatbot live together here, going through exactly how I think about my process. Now, I think that this is a perfect part 2 to the video that I just released, which is why do we build these AI assistant chatbots, which there will be a link in the description, and you can, click this floating bubble at the top right if you want to go check out that video and come back here. But the gist of it is it extends the functionality of these websites for businesses. So how do we go about building them? So let's jump right into this website, which is VB Patios, Virginia Beach Patios, here in my hometown, which is an actual existing business. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is kind of scroll through the website and kind of click around through the navigation to see what does this business actually do? What are their offerings? What are their products and services? Because in order for you to extend the functionality of the website, you have to know what the call to action and end result the users on the other side are going to take. So we can see here there are a bunch of different types of services, whether it's patios, outdoor kitchens, fire places, driveways, pretty much the whole gamut here. And what I like to do is, after I kind of go through this website and get the gist of it, I'm going to open a Miro board here and map out what this conversation is going to kind of look like. And we all know, we've got a start button in our VoiceFlow editor. And then we're going to branch to the first part of our conversation, which I always like to do some sort of greeting or acknowledgement. What's going on here? To the user on the other side that says, hey, make sure you know that you're in the right place here. What is this? What is this AI assistant? Why would I want to chat with this thing? And if we come back to the website here, you can see that the main call to action for here is get started today. If we click this button, it's going to open up to a form where you fill out a bunch of contact details, and then you can check some boxes, which is basically, what are you trying to build here? What do you want us to come do? And if we click this drop-down menu, the expected project budget, the very first selection is $25,000 to $50,000, which to me, this signifies that, this company normally deals with a higher profile client. Okay. Each individual customer is probably worth a decent amount here. So if our AI assistant that we build, Virginia Beach Patio, can increase their conversions even a small amount, you can understand how that it would be a really good ROI for them as a business in order to get this AI assistant chatbot here. So let's see if we can build this. So we've got some services. We've got a form to fill out here. Financing is one of the navigation bars here, which with that price point, you can kind of understand this makes sense, right? If I'm spending $25,000, $50,000 on an outdoor patio, there's a good chance that I don't have that cash on hand to pay for the entire thing. So I might want to finance this thing. And it looks like Virginia Beach Patios has some financing set up with an existing bank here, which if you click on one of these Start My Projects, it actually opens up a website to this lender. I'm no longer on the VB Patio site here. So they've got, you're applying to 12 months, same cash as loan with Virginia Beach Patios. So it looks like Virginia Beach Patios and Enterbank have a setup already. So we can kind of use that knowledge to our advantage here as we go and build out this AI assistant here. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. But going back, I close out of this. So let's go to our Miro board. We have a greeting and a knowledge. Whoa, where'd my stuff go here? Just zoom out crazy for some reason. Can I reset this thing? Did I just delete everything? Zoom. All right. Well, there's only a few blocks there. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. What is going on? Let's refresh this board. Come on, Miro. You can do it, buddy. Here we go. Start. Greeting. And after the greeting, I like to call this step the first fork, all right? Because this is where the user on the other side of the chatbot is going to have to make some sort of decision, okay? So if we can even say first fork here, make this bigger. And here's where I like to introduce some buttons to the user to kind of suggest potential paths that they can take with the AI Assistant Chatbot. And based on the things that we looked at in the website, remember one of the things was, get started today. And I actually want to make this a little bit more specific, which is start outdoor project, right? Let's add a little copywriting flair to this button here. So I want to have the user the option to start the outdoor project. And basically, instead of being directed to that form, I can handle this directly in the chat. So we'll build out that functionality later. Here's the second thing that I want to have available is I want to tie in to that financing in some way. I want to give some more information here because if you think about it, if I come to VB Patio's website and I'm thinking, I'm looking to build one of these things, I press this button here, and then I'm completely routed somewhere else. And I think VB Patios is actually missing an opportunity here to gain some information from their customer because, when you start applying for a loan, you're going to have to start putting in, social security numbers and personal details and stuff like that. So there's a very good chance that some of the users on the other end start this process, but don't finish it. And that is a potential opportunity for VB Patios to come in and, converse with these leads and talk with them and warm them up. They've got warm leads here from the chatbot. Let's make sure that they, finish this loan application, or did they have any questions about what they want to get started? Maybe they didn't know what their budget was going to be. Maybe they were kind of clueless. So I want to loop in this financing aspect to it here so it can give a little bit more customer service as we have their potential customers fill out this loan application here. So that's something else that I want. Here's the last thing. If I look through this website, okay, I've got this nice pool here and a nice patio, I've got a fire pit, I've got all of these features here, and everything looks really nice, okay. What am I not seeing here from this website, right? People love the before and after, okay? And that's why HGTV and all these places, all these shows, Fix It or Flip It or whatever the heck, why are they so popular? Is people want to see the before and the after, okay? And I think VB Patios is missing another opportunity here, and that is to show some people, what is the potential of their backyard, right? Because they might not have the vision. How is my backyard going to look, based on these projects? Because this stuff, looks very pristine, looks really polished, and the good chances are their own backyard doesn't look anywhere close to this. And it may be hard for them to visualize that. So maybe what are some before and after photos that we can gather and put into this chatbot to kind of show this transformation? Because that's really what VB Patios is selling here, right? They're not really selling an outdoor patio. They're selling a transformation. They're selling an uplift of their client's backyard so they can host parties and it elevates their status and yada, yada, yada. So I want to add before and after photos. before, after. I don't know why that turned into a square. Miro is pissing me off a little bit here. Come on. There we go. Let me make this a different shape. Thank you. All right. Now you might ask, where are we going to get these before after photos? And if we look on VB Patio's website, there are some social links here. And one of them is Instagram. So if we open up their Instagram here, oh, okay, we got 5,000 followers here. So this is a very active Instagram account for, a local business like this. So this is great. So there's a good chance I may be able to go through these and find some before and after photos, but we'll deal with that later. Now, one of the things you may be thinking is, Connor, this seems like a lot. Seems like a lot of work, and that is absolutely true. This is a lot of work. This is a lot of thought that goes into building these things. And from a chatbot builder perspective, in my eyes, you have two different approaches. All right, you have a sniper rifle or a shotgun. Okay, and the shotgun approach is, can I find an e-commerce template somewhere? And I just take this e-commerce template and I just show it to as many e-commerce companies as I can. And, is this valuable? And get feedback, from that approach. And the sniper rifle is a much more targeted approach, which is you pick one person to target, and then you build them something with a little bit more functionality that's, branded and a little bit more personal. And then you get feedback from there. And I prefer the sniper rifle method because, one, when I build it and send it to this company, there's a really high % chance that I'm going to get at least a response, because they're going to be like, what is this? You've literally built me a chatbot that is personal to my business, that has a lot of thought into it. And so if I can at least open that conversation and open that door, there's a lot of positive benefits that I can gain from that, even if I don't close them on a contract, because it's another rep for me building these things. It's another conversation that I can have with a potential client that's, hey, what's actually useful here? It's actually functional. So really what we're building here, we're building an MVP, a minimum viable product, for VB Patios in order to open up a conversation, open up a door, and to get some feedback here. So that is the path that I choose to take here. Okay, so we have our first fork. We have 3 potential paths that we want to take here after photos. What happens if somebody doesn't click a button here? And here is a personal preference of mine here. I want to shorten the distance of value to the customer on the other side to make sure that they instantly have the ability to start asking questions here without a whole lot of forced, click this button, then what is your name? What is your contact email? Because I want to introduce a positive experience to the user on the other side as quickly as I can, and then use the rest of that time that the user is conversing with the chatbot to guide them through these paths in order to gain additional information or functionality. So here's where we're going to introduce the knowledge base and query it in order to answer questions. So if a user doesn't click one of these buttons, but they type something in the chat window as well, this is going to be our fourth path here, which is the no match, which is we're going to do the LLM knowledge base query. And I'll add here on this, I'm going to type some text, which is the no match, which will, see if I can move this down. Yep. Here we go. We'll make the font a little bit bigger. Now this is enough for me to kind of jump into VoiceFlow now, because I kind of understand the general flow path for this AI assistant that I want to build. Now, there's going to be added functionality on each one of these buttons, but I don't necessarily have to sit here and add each and every one. I could, if I thought it was useful or it was a really large or complex project. But in this one, I think it's fairly straightforward, and this is good enough for me to kind of get in and start building in VoiceFlow. And the only other thing that I want to add here is after we query this knowledge base here, we're going to add another, it's a new question, right? You want to open up the opportunity for them to have a continuous feedback loop of asking questions and then kind of tie back into the knowledge base here, which, let's see if I can do this. There we go. That's better if I move this around. But basically, you want to be able to have a continuous loop here to answer questions. And I just wanted to add that just so you understand once we get into VoiceFlow. One other thing that I like doing here, I'm going to open up the website again. I'm going to copy the URL. I'm going to go to a website called Built With. Okay, I'm going to enter this website here. And the reason that I do this is I want to know what page builder or website builder that this company is using. Okay, and this is really for the client handoff portion of this, because in VoiceFlow, we're going to have a script tag that we can insert on a page. And you want to at least have an idea of what this website is built with. That way you kind of know some of the intricacies in order to deliver this. Because if it's, Webflow or WordPress or Wix or Squarespace, there are some, different things that you kind of have to be aware of when you go into each one of these things. And plus, when I go to have the conversation with VB Patios about installing this AI assistant, I can come to them with some previous knowledge that says, hey, if I scroll down here, oh, look at that, Wix. They're using Wix for their CMS. So I can say, hey, by the way, I noticed that your website is built with Wix. Don't worry. All of my AI assistant chatbots are compatible with Wix. And that kind of alleviates a concern on their end that, okay, Connor, you're going to build me this nice AI assistant, but how are you going to get it on my website? Well, no problem. I can do this because I have this knowledge and you use Wix. And if it's WordPress, even better, because then I can say, hey, I actually developed a VoiceFlow WordPress plugin that you don't even have to add a line of code. You just have to download this plugin and insert the project ID. And if any of you are watching this are interested in that, there's another link for our WordPress VoiceFlow plugin. So I'm going to add this, kind of as a note here. Oh, look, here's our old, way to go. Go Miro. So we might have some, general notes here in this board. Website built with Wix. This looks wonderful. All right. So I know that you guys we're what? A long way in here and we haven't even opened up VoiceFlow. So if you're still with me, let's jump in. So I have a clear VoiceFlow canvas here in the designer that we're going to start with. And remember here, we are going to build this particular flowchart here from VB Patio's websites. So buckle up, let's go. I'm going to go right into a text. And remember, we wanted a greeting. And if you see me look off to the left here, I have some notes, obviously, as I built this out the first time. So bear with me. My memory is not the sharpest for this from scratch, but okay. So what's a good greeting for this? And I actually like using information that is on the web page here. So if we go to the home page here, we have a mission statement. Perfect. At Virginia Beach Patios, our mission transcends the ordinary, aiming to deliver not just outdoor spaces, but extraordinary experiences that last a lifetime. Wow, that's deep. So we're going to copy a portion of this. Our mission transcends the ordinary, aiming to not just deliver outdoor spaces, but extraordinary experiences that last a lifetime. I'm going to copy this. Say welcome, and then paste. Boom. Second part of this is we'll add a little bit of, copywriting that we have. After all, this is your home. Now, what did I just do here with these asterisks? Okay. Now, if any of you were not aware, text blocks have a baked-in markdown editor functionality. So if you want to bold a specific word or phrase, you do double asterisks on each side of that. And I'll show you that it will turn bold here in a second. And backyard. So let's get to work on making it special. We offer a variety of outdoor services and would love to know how we can help you today. So if I click out of this, you can see home is bolded here. All right, what's something else that I like to do here? I always like adding a branded image as I open the chat widget, okay? Which in order to do this, you take an image card, you can put it right on top of this. Now, for VB patios, where are we going to get this image? We come up to the top left here, you can right click, I can save the image here, which I've already done here. Oh, it's a WebP file. This is going to get annoying. All right, so I'm going to open up Figma. I'm going to actually copy it. You guys didn't know you were going to get a graphic design lesson here. All right, so what's the problem? It's white, and that's going to become an issue on the backdrop of my VoiceFlow chat widget and when I'm testing it. I actually want to turn this to black. So in case of you have any Figma knowledge, you can just use a mask, put this rectangle over top, grab them both, use as a mask. Now it turned gray. You can target the rectangle, click black, and there we go. So I'm going to group this, and now I can export it. And we go to downloads, save, group 111. So if I open up VoiceFlow again, I'm going to upload. There we go, VB patios. So now, if you click the start button, I now have, why did that? Oh, aha. See, be careful. This is a great learning opportunity here. Look at where this arrow is pointing off of start here. When I added the image after I had set this start path, the image is sitting on top. This arrow is actually directly pointing to this block down here. Therefore, it skips it. So I actually need to handle this by deleting that and coming to the top of this block here. So these arrows are actually very important where you point them. So take that in mind as you build these out. So there we go. I now have a branded VB Patios logo. Welcome. Our mission transcends the ordinary, which is part of their mission statements. After all, this is your home and backyard. Ooh, I got a typo there. So let's get to work on making it special. We'd love to know how we help you today. Perfect. All right, now come from here, and this is where our first fork is, okay? We are going to listen, and we're going to do buttons here. I'm actually, instead of connecting it here, I'm going to stack it again. I like stacking these blocks. You'll notice the button, listen for an intent here, is now stacked. So now we have an image, we have a text, we have buttons all stacked on each other. So really this is a combo. This is a greeting plus first fork, right? And here's where we add the 3 buttons that I wanted to before, which was start outdoor project, financing information, before after photos. Button label. Start outdoor project, add button. Financing, information, add button. Before, after, photos. All right, so now we have these 3 buttons that we can build out these particular flow paths. What about the last part? What about the bottom? How do we start querying this LLM here? Here's where we go back to our buttons. And if you look at the bottom here of the buttons tab, there is a no match. And if I click this, okay, this generate button is going to automatically generate no match responses for you. That is not what we want to do here. We actually want to click this. Oops, sorry. We want to start our own path here. What do we want to do? Hold on one second. What is it? The path is no match. That's right. Sorry, I have this right. Path no match, which then you see now I have 3 buttons and I have no match here at the bottom now. So this, now I can tie, and this is where we're going to query our set AI, or excuse me, response AI step, which is going to be our LLM. Knowledge base response. All right. Now, as you will quickly point out, we have no knowledge base set. Okay. So now we have to go into the content tab in the designer, and we have to come to the knowledge base here. It says add data source here. If we click this, we have a few different options: plain text, upload file, URLs, sitemap, integration. If we look at the sitemap for VB Patios, which, if you are wondering how to find this information, right, it's the URL, and then it's slash sitemap.xml is one of the places to look. And you can also use Google to kind of help you out here with sitemap : and then the site name. But you'll see the sitemap. I've got 3 different URLs here. I've got a blog categories, I've got a blog posts, and I've got a pages. Okay. And for this MVP version 1.0 here, I just want the pages from the website. Because if I start bringing in all of the blog posts, there's a good chance that the scraper that VoiceFlow is using starts taking in too much information, and it's actually going to water down the quality of the responses. So you'll notice that when we copy this and come back and add sitemap here, hit continue, there's not that many URLs, which I think is kind of a good thing. Now, we'll talk about later on in the video how to improve this. No URLs found in the sitemap. What's going on here? Maybe. Come on, Wix. What you got for me? There we go. 29 URLs. 29 is a great number. All right. So if we click import, it's going to start syncing all of these. Now there's a new functionality that VoiceFlow has added here, which is the refresh, which it will re-pull this information because, as you can imagine, companies are updating their websites every so often. So you can change this refresh rate to weekly or monthly. That way your knowledge base is kind of refreshing itself, giving itself new information. We'll ignore this for right now. If we click the gear here, we're going to get the settings of the knowledge base. I'm going to stick to GPT 3.5 Turbo for right now. And let's see, what did I have here in this knowledge base the first time? So I'm going to copy this prompt and then kind of walk you through it individually here. All right. You are an FAQ AI chat assistant for an outdoor patio company called VB Patios. Persona. All users are considered potential customers that want to learn more about our company, what types of outdoor projects we have to offer, and what they can do to get started. All responses should be directed at the user, speak in first person, and refer to the company as we, us, where applicable. Output format. Your responses should be formatted in a way that is easily readable for the user, which means it contains bullets, numbered lists, headings, and frequent new line breaks in order to break up large chunks of text. So here's another interesting one. Now, you might ask me, why are you adding additional URLs into the system prompt itself? And I've found that if I take a few of the main URLs, which you've noticed I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, is that I can kind of get some stronger, more consistent responses. And I can also sometimes, if I'm lucky, get the response from the AI to actually include the hyperlink to one of these pages, which is helpful. So I have added the URLs of the website itself, the services offered, about the company, financing, contact, and get started, which is the main call to action. So we're going to save this. So now that I have knowledge base set, I can come back to the designer here. And we want to query just the knowledge base here instead of an AI model. So what is the question? The question is whatever was typed in here as the no match path. Okay. If we start here, I don't click one of these buttons and I say, where are you located? That's the question, right? Now, where does this get saved? This gets saved in a variable that comes with every VoiceFlow project, which is last utterance. Okay, last utterance is what has been typed in previously from the user. Last response is the previous response from the knowledge base large language model or AI, whatever that is. So we want utterance here. We can actually leave everything else blank here. And we can, you'll notice that if the knowledge base response comes back with a not found, let's say you don't have an answer, I also like to add a custom message here, which for this particular company, I'm just going to do a can't find answer, and then I'm going to copy and paste. I'm sorry I couldn't find the answer. Feel free to call our office at this number or send us an email here, right? And all of this is information that I just got, from their contact page on their website. There you go, right there. So, all right. So what happens when we run this now? Let's see if we can test our knowledge base here. Where are you located? We are located at 1253 Jensen Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia. You can find more information about our location on our website here. What happens if I click this link? There we go. We're back to the contact page. So that's good. So I have successfully queried this knowledge base. Okay. Now we don't have anything connected here, which is why the test ended. But this is a good test. You can see the GPT 3.5 Turbo here and how many tokens that you use in order to generate this response. So you can feel free to sit here and test out a few of, the different questions here. Like if I was to run this again. What types of outdoor projects do you perform? And look at this. We've got some nice formatting here with numbered lists, patios, outdoor kitchens, water feature, fire features, driveways, structures. This is exactly what I want. And that is why the prompt and the knowledge base setting has those words in them. Okay. Now let's see where this one goes. Here we go. Services offered. So that's one of the reasons why I include those URLs and that knowledge base prompt, is because now we had a question about what services, what types of outdoor projects. Here's some information. If you want more information, here's the URL to find it, which opens up to their service offered page. So this is exactly the type of interaction that I want from the AI assistants that I built. Okay, so what are we going to do now? If we remember, we come back to our querying the LLM knowledge base. How do we set up this loop to allow it to continue to ask questions? Coming on back here, we're going to have a text here, and this is called new question. It's going to be a very basic. Is there anything else I can help you with? Now, we're going to do another capture here. I'm actually, for this one, I'm going to loop this right back into, I'm going to drag this down a little bit here. I'm going to drag this right back here. I'm going to move this over here because I'm going to use these flows later. Just clean this up a little bit. All right, so what's happening here? If we start and run this, we're going to get our intro. We're going to get our buttons. Where are you located? Okay, we did that. Is there anything else I can help you with? And you'll look, the buttons come back. And that's because after this talk block comes through, I've directed it to specifically point just at this button block. It does not pick up the stuff above it here, which we saw earlier when we added the image on top here. So this way, it allows me to repeat this loop over and over again after you ask questions, right? Because now I can say, what types of project, outdoor, there we go. So we can just continue to ask questions about this. Do you offer financing? I know we're going to build something out for financing here in a bit, but this is, yes, we offer financing projects. Boom. Look, it's even got phone numbers. So this is good. This is what we want to see. This is the ability to continue asking questions about this particular business. Okay. And now we have these buttons that can suggest certain paths if we want to take them. All right, so now that we have the ability to continuously ask questions, let's start building out these other paths here, which the first one that we have here is Start Outdoor Project, which is basically an extension or a different way of filling out this contact form. So we have first name, last name, phone, email, address. We got all this stuff. Are you interested in financing? All right, I'm going to make this very basic. Also, this is going to be a manual way to do this, right? If I was actually building this out for VB Patios with their input, there's a good chance that this form is actually hosted somewhere else, and I can probably just add it straight into the chat window. But that's a potential improvement off of the MVP and not something that we really need to worry about right now, which is, okay, I'm going to start this. We're going to go into a text chat. Somebody clicks this. Great. We'd love an opportunity to transform your backyard into a place of beauty and comfort. First, we just need a few pieces of information. Now, what is this triple hashtag here? This is also a markdown feature. So this turns this statement here into an H3, which if I click off of this, you will see that what is your name has now increased in size and is now bolder because it's a heading. And this is really a point of emphasis that I try to integrate in all of my chatbots whenever I want a user to take an action, because it's, kind of a different flow. It's like a flow shift from them. They have to sit and actually think and type something. So this block is the get started with project. And then the response to this, we're going to capture. And we want to capture whatever they type in here into a new variable, which we are going to call name. And then we're going to go right into the next one here, which is, great, nice to meet you. And then we can put this name variable back to them, make it a little bit more personalized. And then we go next. What is your email address? And then we do the same thing. We're going to put another capture here. And like I said before, this is the manual way to do this. And this is good enough for you to just build something and get it out the door. I want to make a new variable, which is email. Create variable. And then if we go back and look at some of these other things, I'm not going to ask for their phone number or their well, let's ask for the phone number, actually, because maybe that's something good that VB patios would want to know. Just do another one. Wonderful. Next. What is your phone number? Now you can always add logic into this too as a check to make sure that this is actually a valid phone number and whatnot. I'm not going to go through that here. This is get email, get phone number. And we need to change this variable from last utterance to, oops, let's just call it phone, lowercase. What's next? Let's do location, which will help too, because, you know, this is a local company that has a particular service area. You know, so if the person on the other end that's conversing with this is not in that service area, that's probably something they would want to know. Okay, location, and maybe potentially even add an address, which, you know, VB patios can then use to their advantage. Great. We primarily work in the Hampton Roads area, which is the area kind of surrounding Virginia Beach here. But also perform work, let's call it projects across Williamsburg and Richmond, Virginia. Where are you located? We'll do the same thing, and we're going to capture this. Come on. Location. Next thing that is important for this is the project type. Get project type. And I've got, perfect. Could you give us an idea of what type of project you're trying to build? We offer a variety of services, including, come on, I can't freaking type today. And for the markdown editor here, if you do this dash space, it will add this into bullet points, which is nice. Patio, pool deck, walkway. Oh, driveway is a good one. Outdoor kitchen, barbecue, station, fire pit, fire table, pool, spa, resort amenities, fancy. Home additions and outdoor lighting. That's good enough. And if you're wondering where I got all of this, it's directly from their website, which is all the services, which is all this stuff. And I could have added more, but this is good. We're just giving a few examples here. I'm going to bold this here. We kind of have a little bit different than what we did before with the headers. That's just because of the examples. There we go. So we see that in the component window here, you can see these bullet points here, even though they're kind of cut off a little bit on the side. We're going to do another capture. and put project type, create variable, and one more. Let's do the budget, because that was another one that they thought was fairly important. Thank you for providing that information. One last thing. What is your projected budget for this particular project? We can actually make this dynamic. Put the project type here. We're trying to build. Get budget. I know that this is, this is kind of boring and whatnot. And like I said, a manual process, it definitely has some improvements. But for those of you that are building these out for the first time and just trying to get into the habit and the flow here, this is a necessary part of it. And we'll kind of tie it all together here shortly. And we're going to just do budget. All right. Now I'm going to add some functionality here, which is basically a confirm details here. And I want the user on the other end, if they type something incorrectly, to be able to fix it. So I have a confirm details. And before I send this out to our team, I wanted to give you an opportunity to review your answers. And then we do it all. Name. No. Go away. Don't want to create a variable. There we go. Email. Phone. What was it? Location. Project type. And estimated budget. Boom. All right, so let's go back here and test this flow just to make sure these captures and variables are working correctly. I want to start an outdoor project. What's your name? Connor. What's your email address? Connor@bolt.ai. Phone number. Oops. Press the wrong button there. Located. Virginia Beach. I want a driveway. I'm going to spend $30,000. It's going to be a nice looking driveway. All right. Before I send this out to our team, I want to give you an opportunity to review your answers, your name, Connor, email, phone, location, project type, estimated budget. You can see there's a typo here in the word before because I still don't know how to type. So, okay, fix this. So what do we do with this? What if they say no? All right, so we're going to listen. We're going to give them buttons here. We're going to give them two options. And they're going to be yes. And I don't know why I capitalized that. It's going to bother me. All right, I'm also going to come down to the bottom here. Is the above information correct? Yes, no. If the answer is yes, I'm going to hit this right into an API webhook here, which I've made some videos on how to do this with, Make and Zapier and whatnot before. But I'm basically I'm going to send this information to an email address. And once again, I'll link a video on how to set this up. I'm actually not going to tie this in to this video because I don't think it's necessary. And this is already getting pretty lengthy here and we still have a bit to go. But basically, this is going to send data to external source. And another reason why this is not that important right now is you don't know what VB Patio's backend looks like and where they want this information sent to. It could very easily, they just want this as an email, which is, hey, you've got a new, potential lead here. But you kind of you don't want to go too deep down this route without some sort of conversation with VB Patios on what they prefer here, because I want my clients to have the opportunity to get this information sent however they like it, which it might be directly to their CRM that they're using, or it could be something simple like an email address. So this is where we would send it somewhere else. What happens if it's no? All right. For this, there are a few ways to go about this. I'm going to give a very, very easy way to do this, which is, I'm going to just name this block redo. And I'm going to say, okay, let's try entering the information again. And I'm going to take an action here, and we're going to go to a block. Now, what block do we want to select? So I zoom out and scroll to the left. I want to come back to get started with project here. So if I do this drop down and home, this is why naming your blocks are really important, because there are a lot of times where you want to add a jump functionality. In order for you to jump to blocks, you need to know what they're named. And if this is filled with new block 33, new block 34, new block 48, you're going to have a very difficult time being organized and understanding what's going on here. So get started with project is going to be the jump here. Now watch what happens when we test this out. Start outdoor project. Connor roll.ai 555 VB. I want a barbecue this time, and I want to spend $4. Probably not going to get VB Patio's services for that much. Is the above information correct? All right, I'm going to click no. Okay, let's try entering that information again. Okay, and now it jumps, and you see we're back on get started with project here. Say Connor at umbrel.ai. Do some phone numbers again. Oops, I'm in VB still. Instead of that barbecue, I wanted the driveway this time. And I'll spend $15K on it. And now I can say yes. So what it's doing here, it's just overriding the values that were stored in these variables. And it just allows a little bit of functionality for the user on the other end to correct any mistakes that they might make, because they might not realize, sometimes when you hit forms or whatnot, you just blast through them as quickly as you can just to get, onto the next spot. So you want to give them kind of an opportunity here to make sure that, hey, this is actually going out to the company. Are you sure that this is what you want? And then if we click yes, okay, there's nothing set up for this URL here, but imagine this was send email to VB Patios. Okay, so this is the chat version of Start Outdoor Project, which is the same thing as website version Get Started Here. So I have a widget open here. I have an AI assistant, and I'm asking questions about VB Patios because I'm not sure about some things. All right, I want to start my outdoor project. And this chat AI assistant is now going to help facilitate this, because we're going to give similar information that is in this form. Okay, now that this is set up, I'm going to jump to the before and after photos aspect of this. I'm going to try and pull these blocks upward just to kind of give us, the designer's probably going to not like this. We'll see what happens here. Oh, this isn't too bad, actually. I'll just pull this down. Pull this back down. All right. So before after photos, I'm going to just show you this really quickly, how to set this up. And you're probably not going to have a ton of photos to use as well, but I want to at least show VB Patios that this chatbot has the ability to show off pictures, because when I have an actual conversation about building this with VB Patios, I want them to know that they have this ability, and I want them to send me the pictures that they want to showcase. All right, so spending a lot of time here, finding the right photos, it's probably not the greatest use of your time, but I found a couple just to kind of get the point across so you can visualize what this might look like here. All right, one of the ways to set this up is we're gonna make a carousel. And let's do a project carousel. I can't spell. And I want to have a few different cards, right? And in each one of these cards, I want outdoor patio example. I want a driveway example. I want a pool example. And let's do a barbecue grilling station. So you can see that these are going to be the 4 kind of cards that come up on this carousel in order for you to take them down the next path. So I add buttons on each of these carousels here that say, click here to see example, like before, after photos, right? So that means that if you come to this block here, you're going to see click here for before, after photos. Now I'm going to add a photo of an outdoor patio here so it looks a little bit nice, but I wanted you to get an idea of why, because I want the user to be able to click these. Oh, I want to see some more photos of outdoor patios. So we do this for each one of these examples here, which you click this drop down, and this carousel card on the designer here in VoiceFlow can get very messy very quickly. So just pay attention to kind of what you're doing here. Before, after photos. Come down to the pool, do the same thing. Grilling station, add a button, after photos. All right, so I went through the Instagram account and pulled a couple of examples here. I'm not going to bore you guys with that search because it took a decent amount of time here, but I think that we can get kind of a decent idea here. Let me just make sure this is a good driveway one. Where's my driveway card? So we come up here at the upload, we browse, and I'm going to go to before example 1. And here, boom, okay, that looks good. What is this one? For example 2, this is a good patio one. Right, so now when I test this card out, okay, look, I've got a before picture of an outdoor patio, and I've got a before picture of a driveway. That's pretty gnarly looking, right? Which is, people are going to be like, huh, I'm curious, what is this going to look like? So now you add the path. What happens when you click this button for each one of these things? Now I stack an additional carousel here with all of the individual photos based on this project, right? And you can do this with just adding the before photo again, adding another card, adding the after example here, okay? And what this is going to do, when you start this carousel, you click this button, it's going to give you pictures to, and this is the wrong one. This is the one for the patio. That's not the driveway one. Let's do after example. There we go. Much better. All right. So you kind of get the idea here, right? Which is just pictures that match this outdoor patio example here. So if you just upload these, you don't have to add buttons, you don't have to add titles. What it will do in the chat window, if this thing is low, I might have to reload the designer here because we've been pinging it a decent amount. Cannot render your test assistant. Way to go. VoiceFlow hurting a little bit, but that's okay. This happens sometimes. Should be able to hit refresh, reload this thing, and we'll jump right back into it. Start from here, outdoor patio example. Actually, we want our driveway. Oh, I did connect this the wrong way. So this actually needs to not be connected to the outdoor patio. This is the driveway. Driveway example. There we go. All right, we've got some photos to look at through the chat assistant. Woohoo. All right, now, what do we do once we're in this kind of card here? Because you want the user to be able to scroll through as many photos for as long as they want, right? And when you would make this for real, you'd have more pictures that VB Patios would, supply or whatever they want. But what I like to do here is I want to come back into this carousel and I want to add a no reply. And a no reply is what happens if the user does not take an action after X amount of seconds, right? If I add manually, you can see that this has 10 seconds delay before no reply. I'm going to change this to 5. But I'm actually going to loop this path. I'm going to add an action. I'm going to go to a block. We're going to go to new question. Now, why would I do this? Let's see, new question. So how does this look? So if we come back from the start, VB patios, woohoo. Let's look at some before-after photos. All right, driveway example, before-after photos. I'm interested. All right, let's click around here. Yeah, okay, nice looking photos. I'm not going to do anything for 5 seconds. Oh, look at that. Is there anything else I can help you with? And it comes back with our buttons again. And you can ask more questions. And also, I have the ability to scroll up a little bit into the chat widget window. And I can still hit these navigation buttons from the carousel in order to look through photos. So that way, can kind of move them through the next part of the chat flow to allow, a dynamic interaction back and forth with the user. And if they want to see more photos, just click before and after photos again. So I'm not going to continue the outdoor patio and pool and put, the photos in there because you kind of get the idea here, right? So that is the before or after photos path, which is what are some interesting things we can show our potential customers in order to increase the likelihood that they sign up and get a project built with us. All right, financing information. All right, let's see how we're going to build this out here. Okay, so let's go back to the VB Patios website real quick and check out this financing tab. All right, so we offer financing. We have 2 payment options to choose from. They have a 0% APR 12-month loan and a 7.99% APR 5-year loan. Okay, and clicking either one of these links will open an interbank URL that's got, you're pre-qualifying for the 7.99% 5-year or 12-month, same as cash. So they've got this specialized URL here. Here's another, apply by phone here, application. All right. So here's how I want to set this up in our AI assistant here. I'm going to scroll out. Where's some good project real estate here. And there are better ways to organize this stuff, but for this video, we're just going to do this quick and dirty. All right. I want a financing start block, and we're going to let the customer know Hey, we offer a variety of financing options for all of our projects. Here's what I like to do. Okay, I want to sprinkle in like maybe a customer example, and you can kind of make up this number here, but this is another opportunity where you'd get feedback from VB patios. For example, Dave was able to get his pool installed for only $450 a month, right? And that's the advantage of getting one of these projects financing, because $50,000, holy crap, that's a lot of money. $450 a month or $700 a month or whatever that other number is, like, okay, I might be able to handle that, right? That's why we're all driving $60,000 trucks here in the United States. But anyways, that's a little bit off topic. But okay, you can even put exclamation parts, and maybe you got a picture of Dave. You want to, VB patios. Here's Dave hanging out in his backyard in his barbecue, and only cost him this much a month. Like, that's the kind of business tactics that you want to kind of help VB patios increase their conversion percentages, right? That's the whole point of this. So, VB patios is a trusted partner of Enerbank. So we have a few special deals for all of our customers, all right? And this is, I'm acknowledging the fact that this banking company is associated with us. That way, somebody's not just clicking something and going off site and it's like, well, who are these people? This VB patio still? Like, I'm tying this together, and this is an uplift increase in the customer service here. Feel free to click on the links below, find out additional information. All right. I'm going to add to the bottom of this a card. Is it a card? Yeah, it's a card. And I'll show you why. So, card title. I'm not going to add a card title, but I'm going to add a button here, which is kind of a call to action. See if you qualify. And we'll hold off on setting the path for that right now, but I want to add another card here. It is a carousel. Silly me. I'm going to delete that. Same thing. Add a button. Qualify. Add card. See if you qualify. Now, the reason that I've done this carousel is because the image that I want to take, I'm going to go to the financing part, this 12-month APR thing that they've got on their website. I want to copy this image address, and I want to dump it into this link here, and watch what happens. Boom. So I'm going to show you that again if you missed it. All right. Instead of uploading it from your computer, you can just do this link. And here's another reason why I can tell that this website is hosted with Wix, is because we have a Wix URL. Remember our built with, that's where their site is hosted. So I'm basically borrowing this link here to have this show up in my AI assistant here. And I can also add, the 12-month 0% APR to the title there if I want. Then for the other one, we're going to do the same thing. Financing, we're going to copy the image address, come back in to this card 2 link, click off, card title here, and this is the 7.99% APR 5-year loan. We'll do a dash there. See if you qualify. So how is this going to look? Well, for a variety of funding options. Hey, man, that looks quite professional. Almost like, this is something that would look good on an actual business website. This is a professional uplift here, and potentially will impress, or we hope, VB patios when you show this to them. them because, hey, I know what this image is. I see that. I know what this looks. This is on my website, and this is on your chatbot. Holy crap, Connor. This is amazing. I want this. I want this installed. What do I need to do to get this installed? That's the whole point of this venture, remember. So where are we going to send this? See if you qualify. All right. Here is where I mentioned previously that I think VB Patios is making a mistake because they click a button and immediately goes to Enterbank's website where they have to enter a bunch of information. I want the chat to come in here and gather just a few pieces of information before I send them to Enterbank's website. And that's because I want VB Patios to have the ability to follow up with these potential customers. So both of these are actually going to go to the same block here. I'm going to have both of these pass regardless of what they click. Go here. I know that that looks a little bit strange, but it's the same thing because we only have one in here, which is a name capture. Let's not do that. Let's separate these. Change my mind. All right, we're still going to do let's do name capture 12, and I'll do the other name capture 5 to dictate 12 month and 1 year. Making changes on the fly here. 5 year. All right, they'll be the same exact, which is, excuse me. It's exactly what we did before when we started the project, which is, the only thing is, before I redirect you to Enterbank's website, I wanted to grab a few pieces of information in case we get disconnected. First, what is your name? Right. I want to copy this because it's going to go in both of these. And remember, just like before, we are going to listen and capture, but we already have this variable named. So instead of last utterance, that was unfortunate. Instead of last utterance, I can just do name because we already have it here. I can copy and just paste this block right into there. And then we can do just like we did before. Just meet you, name. I'm going to give them a few options here. What is your phone number? Or if you prefer, email address. I'm going to add a capture. And instead of, we'll make a new variable here, just because we can, which is contact preference. I can copy this entire block here, which only gave us one. Copy, paste, copy, paste. We're going to change this to 5 year. Just to keep them separate. All right. Now, what do we do with both of these? This is all that I need. I don't need to ask for any more. I need a name and then a contact preference so that I can follow up just in case I don't see something on VB Patio's backend that says that this person went through with the loan application to pre-qualify for a project. Okay. And that is valuable. Both of these are going to go to that same API webhook here that's going to send this information either to whatever VB Patio's preferences is. Maybe it's just an email. This is API webhook, and I'll put finance on the end of it to dictate that this is a different API call than the one we used up here, which was send data to external source. All right, so what happens if this webhook is a success and this email goes through? All right. Here's where we're going to say, perfect. If at any time you have specific questions or concerns while filling out your loan application, feel free to call our office at phone number of the business, 305-4000. After a short delay, you will be directed to Enter Bank's website where we have pre-filled loan data you have been looking for. Feel free to return to this chat if you need anything else. All right, so why did I do this? Okay, because you are handing off your potential customer to Enter Bank now, and you want to make sure that they are comforted by the fact that you are doing this, and this is an intended response. And you're also giving them a direct line that says, hey, if you have any questions while you're doing this on their end, because you can't, VB Patios cannot control Enter Bank's end, okay? You're giving them a phone number for them to call if they need help. You're also letting them know, hey, if you still have more questions, just come back and talk to me. I'm your friendly AI chatbot assistant, and I can help you. Okay. After this, I'm going to name this loan final. I'm going to add a button here, which is start loan process. And what you can do here on this button, you can actually add an action here, and you'll notice one of these is open URL. So if you click URL, we can then go to one of the Enter Bank pages and copy and paste this URL back here into our button. Now watch what happens. Perfect. If at any time, start loan process, boom, opens page. There we go. Now we'd have to add some logic here based on what we did previously, which was probably another variable. I just state, I'd add a set variable, which is, loan info 12, loan info 5. And then if 12, open this URL, if 5, open that URL. But you kind of get the picture, right? Which is you have this button action here, which is, okay, start the loan process. And then it opens directly to Enter Bank services. Now, here's another thing that I'm going to add here, because what happens in the assistant after you click this? Start loan process, I come back. It says path is not connected. Try again. Okay, and that's because you can see here, this open URL has nothing attached to it here. So what I like to do here is, let's get out of this test and back into the designer. I want to take this open URL. We're going to go to action. We're going to go to block. Now, what do you think would be a good block to go to here? If you were thinking new question, you read my mind, right? Because then once you get here, start the loan process, opens this URL. If I come back, is there anything else I can help you with? And you're tied back in to answering questions and pressing other buttons. Okay, so this is, then if we zoom out here, all right, this is our AI Assistant MVP 1.0 that has a start, a greeting, our first fork, which allows people to take a few different paths, and also allows continued querying of a knowledge base to answer questions about this. All right, what's one thing that I want to talk about real quick, which is potential upgrades to this thing off of version 1.0, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this assistant that I've built, I'm going to send it to VB Patios, all right? And I'm going to try to open up a conversation with them to say, hey, look what I've built for you. Are you interested in this? But in the back of my mind, I want to know, what are some things that I could do to improve the functionality of this outside of, putting pictures in all the empty blocks and actually connecting that API, to send an email out and stuff like that. Like, we know how to do that. That's very straightforward. But let's take a step back. Or what are the potential upgrades off of this MVP 1.0? And I want to know this beforehand, because before I have a conversation with VB Patios, I want to be armed with a few, like, hey, by the way, I can do this as well, right? And you want to give the customer like something to kind of think about and chew on. It's like, okay, I want to get the gears turning. This is really cool. This is really interested. I want to build out this project, with even more detail. All right. One of the things that I've mentioned previously is we can tie some of this customer data into the company backend CRM, right? So that's one like pretty significant upgrade here. I'm going to reduce this text size a little bit, right? Which, instead of just sending this to an email, if they're using a CRM, we'll just hit it with an API and we'll send this stuff directly to them. That way, all of their lead nurturing and notifications and all that stuff, it's already set in. You want to make this as automatic as you can with the least amount of friction to help out these businesses and companies. So that's one upgrade, which is find out what they're using for their backend and tie into it directly, which makes your assistant more valuable and more functional. Here's another one. Get more photos from the company, right? What do you want to showcase here? And maybe, I picked 3 particular paths because I thought they were a good idea. Maybe VB Patios, after looking at this, is like, I actually want an entire branch for photos, and I want a slideshow that has, a couple hundred different photos. Like, okay, that's, something that we can, definitely do that would improve this version 1.0. Here's another thing. Error checking on user responses, right? Let's say somebody doesn't enter a valid email address or gives you something that's spam or obviously not the right question, right? We can add certain logic flows into this that kind of check some very basic responses to make sure that the customer is actually giving us something useful. Now, we'll put an asterisk on this, okay? If somebody comes in here and starts talking with the chat and doesn't want to play nicely and just wants to mess around with the chatbot and AI, I have no problem with letting them do so, right? That they're wasting their own time. If they want to do that, let them, okay? But there are a few things where, you might have a typo here and there or some little things that you can check just to kind of help improve the accuracy of some of these responses, right? Here's a big one. List of additional questions that contain information about the company. All right, now think about this. Where is this knowledge base grabbing its information from? The existing website, all right? Now, like I mentioned in my previous video, all right, a website is a box, okay? And you are forced to live inside of this box and only put a certain amount of information in this box, because then your web designer is like, this doesn't look very good and this isn't professional, and you don't want to have a wall of text that has 100 FAQs. Well, the cool thing about these chatbots is, remember, we're extending the functionality. I can tell a bunch of different things about this company to the chatbot. That way it can respond to users' questions in a more accurate way and also provide additional information. So if there's more stuff about the company that we want to tell the customer about, we have an opportunity to do that here. So we can extend our knowledge base out even further, okay? Here's another potential upgrade, and this is something that I have been tinkering a lot with lately, which is, instead of using VoiceFlow's knowledge base, which, has its uses, it also has its, particular limits, we can also tie into the OpenAI Assistant API. And I'll probably make some videos here in the future showing an example of this. We can kind of build out some stronger prompts using OpenAI Assistant's API, and it really helps the responses stay on target a little bit better. And I've kind of hinted at some of this with the way that I've set up my prompt to the knowledge base, where I included some of the URLs and the persona and the output and whatnot. And I think right now the assistance API and building out more targeted assistance, I think it kind of improves the accuracy of responses across the board. And it also handles maybe some additional questions that wouldn't be in the knowledge base, like specific questions about outdoor projects. But that's something that's also a potential out there. And I'm sure there are, many other things that we could sit down here and think of. But I think that this is a great, version 1.0, and it's in a good enough spot where we have what we're looking for, right? Now, when I open up this conversation of VB Patios, how is this going to look, right? So I have a few different options here, okay? If you do not have experience in web design, okay, VoiceFlow has a share button here, which I can share and open this link in a new tab. And you can use this as a testing environment, but you can also use it as like a demo, which is, hey, I'm just going to email VB Patios and say, hey, you want to have this conversation with this AI assistant that I built for you? And it's like, whoa, what is this? Financing information? What the heck? Like, whoa, this is, a potential for, some wow factor, just sending them this link and letting them chat with it. One of the things that I like to do is I like to clone VB Patio's existing website and actually install the widget on there and then record kind of a demo of myself, just like this video with me in the bottom left corner, kind of walking through what I've built and why I've built it, and explain to them what this thing is, right? Because they might really not understand it. So this is, just like I mentioned, the difference between the sniper rifle and the shotgun approach. Now, this video is probably close to an hour and a half long. So this took a lot of time for me to build this out for one particular client, okay? And if I don't get any feedback from them, or I don't hear from them, or I don't close this project, you might think, man, Connor, that was a lot of time that you just wasted. My argument to that is, I don't think it was a waste of time at all, because like I mentioned, I'm getting reps in how to think about building these out for specific businesses, which this particular act in and of itself, I think, is one of the most valuable things that you can do as a chatbot builder, because you are building these assistants for specific companies and trying to load as much into this value equation as you possibly can. And if you build out solutions that are too general and don't do useful things, these companies aren't going to pay you. And I would rather go this route and strike out, a few more times and, use this method than blasting, hundreds of thousands of cold emails on a template that maybe not be that functional. Because like I said, I am fairly confident that I will have a conversation with VB Patios based on this. Now, another thing that you might be curious or asking is like, Connor, can I have this template of what we built today? And the answer to that is no. And that's because I believe that the value here is you sitting down and recreating this yourself, okay? You can hit replay and as much times as you want to go through the individual blocks, but you really need to feel VoiceFlow as an editor and connect these to the right places and type this in and click the right pluses and add action and jump here and capture this. If you are serious about building these chatbots on a regular basis, this is what you need to do. You need to be in the editor. You need to be building things. And you might think that this is a very basic chatbot an example, and it is. But this is the entry bar. This is how you break into this market. This is how you start building these AI assistants for businesses. And as your experience grows, as you get more clients, they will ask you to do more and more things and add more and more functionalities to your AI assistants. And that experience will allow you to add more to the value equation, which allows you to chase bigger clients and bigger contracts because you will be more valuable. And that is what we have to do as AI agency owners or freelance chatbot builders, whatever it is. It's, can you build out these chatbots and AI assistants, and can you help these businesses increase their conversions and understand what their business needs and wants and problems are, and can you help them? And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to be known as a person that understands how their business operates, and let's see if we can, improve their customer service scores, see if we can make them more money, see if they can reduce some of their margins, see if they can automate some of their processes. Whatever that is, the more you give them, the more you get paid. I guarantee it. I know that this is probably my longest video to date, and if you stuck around to the end, thank you for watching this, and feel free to let me know the feedback on something like this. And if any of you are interested in working with me or any businesses that have watched this, my contact information is below in the description. I'd love to see if we can build something out for your business. Talk to you guys later.